Hey everybody, I'm Stephen Kalajian, and thank you for joining me here at sktrading.live and being part of Legends Trading. Just to give you a little breakdown of who I am, and I know time is of the essence, especially during the live markets. I have been trading for over 41 years in the industry. My specialty when I first started was trading stocks, ETFs, and now futures. As you know, for me, the number one asset for me is trading the S&P futures, index futures, commodity futures like gold and oil. This is a really great opportunity for me to get to know all of you and for you to get to know me. Um, my whole career, I started working on four different exchanges, working on the American Stock Exchange, going to the New York Stock Exchange where I was a member, going to the COMEX, and then going over to the Chicago Board of Trade to work outside the 30-year bond pit. Eventually, I went upstairs and I started trading equities back in the early 90s, and then shifted my focus into building proprietary software for myself, and then trading again. My style of trading is scalping, intraday trading. Also, I work with a lot of big individual family offices, prop firms, hedge funds around the world, some of the biggest, where I'm able to help them on short, intermediate, and long term, all based upon my technical analysis, all based upon my software, which I'm about to show you here today. What is the one that clicks here? Okay, so this is a little bit about myself here. You can see here my 41 plus years. August 1st of this year, I'll be 42 years in the industry. And I have an impeccable track record. When I decided that I wanted to do this in the art of trading, my focus really shifted because I love the game of baseball, and I got drafted by a professional team, and that didn't work out. But I took the five key words from the game of baseball and I shifted into the art of trading: consistency, discipline, confidence, patience, and passion. The consistency factor really is obviously one of the key guys I met in my life. Was one of the biggest gold traders in the world at the time, and then shifted into oil. He said to me, his story was when he was a clerk making $100 a day working on the COMEX. Then he eventually wanted to, go into the gold pit. Just got married, was having a baby, and said this was his only chance. He went in in the local pit to trade gold. And really, if you know, back then in the open outcry era, nobody really wanted to trade with a local, especially a guy trying to buy a one lot. His goal was to make $100 a day, and then when he hit his goal, he stopped, put his trading cards in his pocket, and then eventually, what he wanted to do was to then shift it to 200, then 300, then 400, and he every week he umped it up. So when I met Steve and getting to know him very, very well, when I started trading upstairs, my goal was to make $100. Actually, his goal was to make $100 for the month, and then 200, then 300, and 400, and he hit his goals. My goals were a little differently. My goal was to make $100 in a week, then 200, then 300, then 400. And then back in 1991, I grossed over $1.8 million, and based upon my consistency factor. And it was such a great honor to meet Steve, and still friends with him till this day. In building the software I built, I have five key conditions in the market, all based upon my indicator four, which I'm going to show you, my algorithm, which gives me the ability to help traders constantly be successful in their trading. These five conditions are based upon three time frames: the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame. You have a trend, a buy reversal, a sell reversal, a correlation, meaning what I teach, and I taught this to some of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world. During the US session, you can't just use the S&P futures charts without looking at the underlying ETF. The math is completely different because the continuous contract is 23 hours in a day. Um, and and the ETF I used was called regular hours, basically is from 9:30 to 4. So basically, these are my conditions. And if you look here, all my strategies are all based upon divergent strategies. And I tell people, if you could master the art of divergences, you have conquered the art of trading. All the strategies I have are all based upon divergences. You're trading S&P futures. There were huge sell divergences this morning off of the 15-minute time frames. Every new high we shorted, and they dropped substantially off the 15-minute time frame. Uh, Everything I do is based upon technical analysis and all based upon pure mathematics. I teach these patterns, these my methodology throughout the day. So many people who are trading real money, trading index futures or commodity futures, also may have a prop account, or I have so many people that have prop accounts, 4, 5, 6, 10 accounts, and all they do is try to hit singles and doubles every single day. Just now we called a phenomenal short on the S&Ps right around the 1150 time period, up about 92. They just dropped 7, 8 points on the S&P. NASDAQ just dropped about 30. So again, what we're able to do is identify these patterns each and every day, and and so basically we're all about just constantly just being successful in our trading, in the ability to trade the market. Like I said, I look at 3 time frames, 15, 30, and 60 for intraday. Everything I do is based upon combination methodology. Intermediate term, 60 daily and weekly. Long term, daily, weekly, and monthly. And again, these are all off of my indicator 4, which you're going to be seeing. When you're trading the markets, my research has shown me that you'll get 4 to 6 great trades a day using the 5-minute, 2 to 3 great trades off the 15-minute. Again, I only use technical analysis, no fundamental analysis used. Uh, I do, when I look at the markets during the day, I set the conditions on the market for regular hours on the stocks. Obviously, the continuous contracts run 23, 24 hours in a day. The way my algorithms work is price leads and the indicators lag, but the indicators paint a picture pure based upon pure math, which you're going to see in the next couple of slides. The ability to see market direction, the ability to see the patterns and know how to trade once the picture is painted. Okay. A lot of people, I tell people all the time, especially people who are trading trading their own money, how much time do you have to trade during the day? I stream every day from 9 to 4. I host a podcast at night at 6 p.m. called The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. I show the examples of the day, plus throughout the day, we're calling out trades. I'm doing trade ideas, trading, also identifying the patterns and teaching the patterns in a way where people can be very successful, whether you're trading index futures, commodity futures, or stocks or ETFs. Uh, it's also important to have the proper setup. How many of you trade and not know that? I taught this to probably one of the biggest traders in the world, a very good friend of mine I've known for over 40 years. I said, if you're going to trade index futures during the day, you need to look at the underlying ETFs. He said, I never knew that. And I showed him and I taught him. And he said, wow, now I really see the importance of how you can't just trade off of one index. A while back ago, a big fund called me and said, Stevie, I'm looking to sell significant amount of S&Ps against the portfolio. And I said, I wouldn't do that now. He says, why? I says, because I think we're going up higher. And he said, okay, where would you sell them? I said, probably 12 handles lower on the S&Ps. And he said to me, why would I sell them 12 handles lower? I said, because right now the math is telling me we're going up. Well, at the end of the day, the S&Ps, the Dow was up about 600 points and the S&Ps were north of about 60 or 70, 80 points higher. And he said to me, called me up, he said, Stevie, you saved me a lot of money. And I said, now you can short them if you like against your portfolio. And again, everything is based upon pure mathematics. So again, on the short we just had prior to this webinar, S&P's hit 92, now they're 82. NASDAQ futures were trading 65, now they're trading 25. So what we do here each and every day, you have someone with over 41 years of experience, someone that has a software that I can identify these trades and identify these patterns, especially those of you who are trading prop. You want to be able to achieve your goals every single day. You want to be able to move the needle, be profitable. Yesterday, a young man I get people who sign up with me and pass the evals all the time. And then I have people who have, like yesterday, a young man called, texted me and said, he made over $850 with 5 accounts. And I said, God bless you. And this gentleman every month religiously does very well and takes money out and is able to help his family. And that's what, for me, there's no greater joy in the world to be able to take my knowledge, my software, my years of experience in trading nearly 2 billion shares. I can't even tell you how many S&P futures. Yesterday, we did over 1,080, 1,050, 1,000 S&Ps yesterday. The number is not the question. The question is what you make at the end of the day, and the P&L was north of 18,000. So what I'm trying to explain and teach you, okay, is that how these patterns repeat themselves every single day, and being able, and I live and breathe this all day long. I'm literally live and breathe this as we speak. S&P futures making new lows today, right now. On the five, well, not on the day, but on the 5 minute, the low is a lot earlier this morning at 9:30. Um, Again, understanding if you're using the markets, finding the right broker. But if you're using a prop firm, I use multiple time frames using ETFs when trading futures. The math, as I told you, is significantly different. Okay, whether you're trading micros or e-minis, set your goals. And if you're down on the day and you hit your stop, you're out. And then there's no revenge trading, which a lot of people tend to do. Before I start showing you my charts, I use what's called a 10-bar weighted moving average. And this 10-bar weighted moving average gives me a reference point to see the distance from the price to the 10-bar moving average, and the ability to call long and shorts based upon the strategies within the algorithm that I'm going to show you. Okay. Let's see here. The solid white line, which you'll see on my charts when I show you in the next couple of slides, is a pivot line. This pivot line gives me the ability to see the MACD, and it's a normal MACD, 12.26.9. And the MACD is, when you see blue over yellow, the terminology is I have a negative MACD. When the MACDs are positive, it's a yellow over blue. Now, when I use my algorithms, what I do here is out of the four indicators, I use indicators 1, 3, and 4 85% of the time, and indicators 1, 2, 3, 4 15% of the time. This is indicator 2. It has two indicators in it. One is an ADX. When the ADX is rising, that means a trend is in place, up or down. I wish I could show you now, but like for example, the 3-minute and 5-minute ADXs are rising on the 5-minute time frame on the S&Ps. S&Ps just went from 92 down to 77. Nasdaq just dropped about 60 points here just now. And again, the ADXs are rising on these time frames, okay? And you can see now we're going to look for shorting opportunities on off the 3-minute or 5-minute time frames on the next rally. But again, indicator 2 has just the ADX, which is when the ADX is down, that means there's no trend. The trend is off, means it's flat. Indicator 2 also has big selling pressure, buying and selling pressure, which is important based upon the strategy. Like right now, on the 3, 5, and 15-minute time frame, I have big selling pressure on the S&P and Nasdaq futures. Indicator 3 is my overbought, oversold oscillator. I only look at the cayenne color, the blue, and it gives me the ability to understand, based upon the pattern, when to enter a trade long and or short based upon the actual condition on the overbought, oversold oscillator. This is my algorithm that is on all time frames. Every time frame is going to have different math. When you see the cayenne color over orange, that means the indicator on this particular time frame is bullish. When you see it orange over blue, it means we're in a sell negative trend. Also, what's important, there are numbers to the right, and the numbers to the right represent price from the 10-bar weighted moving average. That's number 1 right here. The price from where the algorithm reverses to sell on this particular time frame. The MACD right here is just positive. I really don't look at this number. This number here represents the difference between the buying pressure and the selling pressure. This number here is my overbought oversold oscillator. It just runs dynamically, and I can see based upon the conditions on overbought oversold conditions. Indicator 4 is my proprietary algorithm. You can see this is the last sale, but this is where the algorithm reverses to sell on that particular time frame, and every one of them has various different numbers on each time frame, and this is what I teach throughout the day. These are the index futures right here, and these are the underlying ETFs that go with them. So, for example, if you're looking at the S&P futures, I look at the spiders on the 15, 5, 15, 30, and 60, and I look at the SDSs. Why? Because I can see various different correlations or disconnects based upon the math being different, and I know how to trade. Our community of traders know how to trade based upon the conditions that I started out telling you, based upon buy and sell divergences here. Crude oil, I look at the USOs. So, for example, today, after the number came out, or a news event with Saudi Arabia about oil, oil dropped more than $1, and then the USOs reversed to sell on the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame. And what do you look to do? You short the first bounce at 11.50 on crude, 62 above 62.85, and crude dropped 30 cents. Gold today got big buy reversals on the 30-minute time frame on the GLDs. What do you look to do? You look to be trading gold from the long side, because now you're in a positive trend on gold on the GLDs on the 15, 30, and 60-minute time frame. Again, like I said, for those of you who don't know me, I have taught this to the number one trader in the world, someone who is very well known and someone that is running a significant, very big fund. And I told them that in order to trade index futures or commodity futures or whatever futures you want to trade, you really need to look at if there's an underlying ETF, how important it is to factor in using the underlying ETF. You cannot just trade the continuous contracts without looking at the underlying ETFs. All right, so again, I want to show you this chart. If you're trading the 30-year bonds, I look at the 20-year TLT, which is the ETF, and the TBTs, which is the reverse. So again, a lot of people, when they're trading S&P futures, we're looking at the S&P, the continuous contract, the spiders, and on the SDSs as well. All right, these are the patterns I like to show you here. Okay, so basically, this is my chart overlay. And you can see here on the S&P futures, this is the 5 and 15-minute time frame. The way I have my chart set up is I have the 5 and the 15-minute time frame on one chart, the 3-minute time frame independently, because a lot of times the 3-minute time frame gives me a lot of significant patterns like the one that's setting up right now. Also, then I have a whole different wall for the bigger time frames, the 30 and the 60-minute time frames. Like I said, my conditions are all based upon using the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frames, which are really, really important. So it's all about understanding the importance of using the software in a way that you can see market direction based upon pure mathematics. So here, for example, the algorithm on indicator 4 reversed the buy. It correlated with its 5-minute time frame. What do? I wait for pullbacks on the 5-minute time frame. Here's a phenomenal long, beautiful pattern. Here's another bull flag. Here's another long. Here's another great long on the 5. And this pattern here was off the 15-minute time frame on the deep oversold condition. Really great longs here on this example here using the S&P futures. The ability to see these patterns in such a way, I would never be able to trade the market the way I do if I did not have this software in front of me. And this is not a selling point. This is something I use. I'm starting a family office called Jupiter Trading, and where I'm going to be able to apply this methodology in our trading world, whether we're doing intraday trading or doing options trading, it doesn't make a difference, or futures trading, it doesn't make a difference. This software, based upon pure mathematics, will tell me what I need to do in the future. An example here, when you got the buy reversal here on the S&Ps, and it correlated with its 5-minute time frame, and you can see waiting for the pullback right here on the 5, and then you can see here's the what is this? S&Ps? S&Ps here. This is what's called a cell divergence here. The MACDs are negative above the pivot. So if you draw your horizontal line, every short, we would look into for shorts here. This is a cell divergence. The price made a new high, but the MACD did not on the particular time frame, on the 60-minute and on the 30-minute time frame. So this is why you have to look at bigger time frames. S&Ps just got up to 83 and a half just now, just dropped 2, as I told you, off the 3-minute time frame. Again, the ADXs are rising currently right now. S&Ps are going right back down. So here, if you had sold 83s and you covered at 81, 80 and a half, or 80 right now, you're pretty much, every day you're trying to make yourself 10, 15, 20 points on the S&P, or anywhere between 30 to 50 to 80 points on the NASDAQ. That's our goal every single day here, every single day. So again, using the bigger time frames, I'm able to identify, okay, the new high here and the MACDs, the non-confirm on the 60 and 30-minute time frame. So these are nothing but monster shorts, and we absolutely crushed it on this pattern. And you can see the drop, significant drop on the S&P futures here. Here's another great long here on gold. You can see the 5-minute time frame, the 15 reverse to buy. It correlated with the 5-minute time frame. Beautiful pullback right into the 10-bar weighted moving average, and you can see here the push up, and you can see the trades last anywhere from 1 to 8 bars. So basically, what's happened here is that if you count the bars, anywhere from on a 5-minute up to 40 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8 bars right near the high. Again, it really is predicated on anywhere up to 8 bars, but as you're moving higher, you just keep raising your stops. S&P's just dropped about 4 just now on that pattern. NASDAQ just dropped about 18 on the short off the 3-minute time frame. So again, being able to identify these patterns, and even if I'm not live streaming right now and I'm here, my traders in our community know that pattern. S&P is trading 79 now, so it dropped about 4. NASDAQ dropped about 25. So again, this is what we do here. And as prop traders, and you wanted to achieve your evals, you want to be able to constantly, wait for the right patterns. Patience is one of my 5 key words. Well, I waited after the push down for the push up just off the 3-minute, and it was a nice trade here, 3 to 4 points on the S&P futures just now. All right. Here's another great pattern here on gold. Again, more or less, you can see the 15-minute time frame. The algorithm is negative. The ADXs are rising here. Negative MACDs. ADXs are rising. What do you look to do? You short into the negative MACDs on price, and you can see the significant drop on gold here on the 15-minute time frame. Phenomenal pattern again. And then if you look here, again on the gold futures, this is the gold again here. Another pattern, the 5-minute time frame correlating with 15. Look at these ADXs rising. Look at the ADXs rising. Look at the huge selling pressure. This is a great short. First bounce on the 5-minute into the negative trend. You can see the drop here. Again, I teach these patterns, and these patterns repeat themselves every single day. We just got to be patient and wait for them to happen, and that's exactly what we do here. Here's another pattern here again on gold. You can see here the ADXs are rising on the 15, on the 30-minute, and on the 15-minute time frame. And when you got the overbought condition on the 15, overbought into the negative MACD on the 15 and 30, ADXs are rising. You can see the ADX is rising, huge selling pressure. Gold had nowhere to do but go down. Beautiful short pattern. Again, I teach these patterns every single day. I teach these patterns every single day. 2 days ago, if you watched my Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly, I think it was 2 days ago, we had a really unbelievable situation. We had nothing but buys on the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame on my indicator 4 on the NASDAQ and S&P futures. We're in a complete uptrend. But the spiders, SPY, we were bullish on the 30 and 60-minute time frame, which is in, I know you don't know this yet, but it's a buy disconnect. 2 out of 3 were bullish. On the QQQs, the 15 and the 30-minute were bullish, and the 60-minute wasn't. So we were 2 out of 3. We were in a buy disconnect. At 2 o'clock, the spiders, SPY, reversed the buy on the 15-minute time frame. It correlated with its 30 and 15. Now I know we're buying pullbacks, right? Not only did it correlate with its 30 and 60-minute time frame on indicator 4, it also correlated with the underlying continuous contract. So now you're in some complete uptrend on the S&P futures and on the spiders on the 15, 30, and 60-minute time frame. On the Qs, the NASDAQ futures, you were in a buy disconnect. The 15 and the 30 were bullish. No problem. You still look for buys. The continuous contract on the NASDAQ was bullish on the 15, 30, and 60-minute time frame. But then at 2:30, the QQQs reversed to buy on the 60-minute time frame. Now you're in a positive trend. So the Qs reversed to buy on indicator 4, correlating with its 30 and 15-minute time frame, and it also correlated with the NASDAQ futures on the 60, 30, and 15-minute time frame. Monster longs there. And what happened? We got a beautiful pullback on the 3-minute time frame around 320, and then we got a really, really great pullback at 350. And then S&P futures ran 18, and I believe the NASDAQ ran about 65 or 70. Phenomenal pattern. Using the pullback on the 5-minute time frame, after everything correlated, pure Picasso, unbelievable pattern. This morning, I came in with the approach that any new high, I'd be looking for shorts. Why? I had nothing but negative MACDs, blue over yellow on the 15-minute time frames, on the spiders, on the 30-minute time frame, on the S&Ps, 60-minute time frame on the S&Ps, 30-minute on the NASDAQ, 30-minute on the NASDAQ futures. Every new high, 97, 98, 95, 96s. We were looking for shorts. Why? Sell divergences in a positive trend. Like I said, you can have a trend, and every condition has two strategies, a buy and a sell divergence, okay? And in this case, we were looking for more sell divergences than buy divergences, even though there was probably 1 or 2 longs along the way here, okay? So again, this is the philosophy, this is the methodology, and this is how I teach throughout the day. And people are mirroring the trades we're doing, and also the ability to learn as I'm guiding and educating you along the way. It's my goal to make you successful each and every day. My legacy depends on your success. I'm here over 41 years doing this. There's not a minute I walk through that door. I love being here every day. I love meeting new people. I love helping people. I love instilling the value of you to be consistent and in order to change your life. Like I said, so many people in my community trade their own money. A lot of people trade their own money, and when they hit their goal for the day, they trade a prop account. I have people who just trade prop, one account. I have people who trade anywhere from 3 to 10 to 20 accounts. And guess what? Everybody that I know in my community does very, very well. They know my methodology. They stick with it. They understand it. They ask questions in my member Discord. We're a community. We're all here to help each other. We all want the same thing, success. It's all we want each and every day. Like I said, I've been doing this now over 41 years. I've traded nearly 2 billion shares. I can't even tell you how many futures contracts I've traded in my entire life. But with that being said, it's all about being consistent. For you to be able to trade an evaluation, pass the evaluation, be able to make money every single day. Listen, this market has no soul, right? But if you could take money every single day out of the market and you could achieve consistency every single day, wait for the right patterns, trade the right patterns, make the patterns go in your favor, right? And then be able, as you're trading, as you're sizing up whether you're trading micros. So a gentleman comes to me I've known, and he says, Stevie, I'm done trading options. I don't want to trade options any longer. Can you please help me learn futures? I said, sure, I'll teach futures, right? So did some lessons with him, and then he says, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get really acclimated to trading on the matrix, right? His own money. And then for 3 days, I'm going to listen to you. He's a member. And as you're, calling your ranges for longs and shorts, I would, I'm going to scale into the position and, listen to you where you think you would cover as it's going and adding, etc. I say, great. And then he says to me, after 6 days, I'm going to go live. Well, he calls me up after the first week. He says, I made $7,000. The next week, he said, I made 9,000. The week before, he said to me he was off by 4 days. He was off 4 days, and then he came back that Friday and made 1,200. Then this Monday, he made 1,900. So these are stories that I'm being told from people, not so many people, but it's my job here every minute to give it my all, to give you the ability to learn from me. You have a mentorship, you have software that I'm teaching that you can have at your fingertips. The software is provided on TradingView, or obviously you can pull it up on TradingView. I use TradeStation, okay? But again, it's really about how learning from me gives you the ability. Like I said, I work with some of the best hedge fund managers in the world, family offices, prop firms. To me, I live and breathe this every single day. And I've been doing this now for well over 41 years. And it gives me a lot of great joy to do this here for Legends. Greg is a great, great person. When Greg told me he was doing this, I could not wait for him to get going. I love Legends. I know the people behind the scenes. The reputation here is phenomenal. And more or less, it gives me great joy to do this and to get to know each and every one of you. And I hope you come and join me at sktrading.live because, I speak to everybody. I give out my cell phone number. I talk to people like I know you for 30 years. And it's important because I want to hear from you what your struggles are and how I could put you on the right path. All right. I'm new at futures trading. Are you using tick charts? No, I use bar data. Okay. What else? Can you touch on a trade management? Trade management falls under discipline, okay? And discipline is something that you really need to focus on, right? So if I'm calling a trade on the S&P, there's always a stop, okay, in place. You always have a stop in place based upon the pattern. As the pattern is working in our favor, I cancel the stop above, I lower the stop, and I start scaling down I start scaling into the position. The stop is in place. Let's say for example, if I sold the S&Ps at 83, and added trading that down to 80 and a half, 81, I could look to cover, and then I lower my stop. It went down to 78, I would cover or lower my stop down to 79 and a half, and on the push up, you would have got stopped out on a profit. So everything is about constantly moving your hand on when you're trading the position, not just trading it and leaving it there. You have to manage your trade as it's working in your favor. It's not going in your favor. Well, you have a stop in place, okay? And because nobody's bigger than the market, news can come out in a heartbeat on a tweet or whatever. And guess what? Like today, nobody expected this news in oil, and oil dropped $1 out of nowhere. Okay. So it's important. Do I use Delta versus CVD? No, I do not. Are you using tick chart? No. Can you touch on trades management? I did. Again, discipline, discipline, discipline. When you drive in a car, you have a brake. Nobody's bigger than the market. So what's really important is that how you trade the market, you need to be able to have a stop in place at all times, okay? A buy market or a sell market. I don't believe in buy limits or sell limits because on fast markets, guess what happens, right? And it becomes a limit order. Why don't you trade news only using math and stats like crude that came out? Okay, well, I didn't know the news was coming out. I didn't have a crystal ball, James, right? So when news came out in crude, okay, the next bar, which I call it a pencil down, okay, and then next thing you know, it rallied back up. You then there was a beautiful short. So when crude pushed down $1, it rallied beautifully up to like the 62.85, 62.86. The next bar right back down 20, 30 cents. So I primarily look at S&P futures, what I do. But we do NASDAQ, gold. We had a beautiful long here on gold, just ran about $5, $6. Also, I used to look at the 30-year bond. I do look at oil, okay, especially because a lot of people from around the world and in the Middle East that I have as members love oil and they trade oil all the time, okay? So what we trade in Riding Room? Uh, we do S&P futures, we do NASDAQ futures, we do oil, we do gold. I look at ETFs for people who in my community who trade stocks and ETFs. Bitcoin also, a lot of people trading Bitcoin with me. So it's a combination of whatever is moving in this direction, okay? Do you look at correlation spreads? No, I do not look at correlation spreads. I'll look at correlations with the underlying ETF, the spiders with the continuous contract each and every day. When they line up, where there's a buy or a sell disconnect, there are patterns for each. Like I told you, there are two conditions, two strategies for each condition right now. Right now, it's kind of slow because we have the FOMC beige book coming out at 2 o'clock. Are you giving levels to points to trade in advance before? Yes. So basically at 9 a.m., before the market opens, the S&P futures are trading. And obviously, if there's patterns in the pre-market before the market opens, we'll look to take them. But also, if there's a 10 o'clock number like today, factory orders, we wait before the number, but there was still about 20, 25 minutes before the market, before that economic number came out, that we had some great shorts on the S&Ps before we covered, before the number came out. But it's important because I give a whole overview in the first 15 minutes of what I'm expecting for the market at that particular time between 9 and 9:15, what the conditions are on the underlying ETFs on the bigger time frames and on the continuous contracts. So even when we got this pushed down after the 10 o'clock number, the spiders, the Qs were still bullish on the 15, 30, and 60-minute time frame, and I knew that was a great long, and the S&Ps rallied 20 on that pattern. Can you give an example that you have given today at 9 a.m.? Let's see. 9 a.m. Let's see. 9 a.m. We didn't do an example. I was going over the conditions in the market at 9 a.m., but I'll look at what I said here. I said that any new highs today would be running into resistance or sells on the 15-minute time frame. You don't have my software here now live. These are just preset versions to show you how my software looks. But at 9 o'clock, I was saying that based upon the conditions on the 15-minute time frame on the spiders, the 30 and 60-minute time frame on the S&P and NASDAQ futures, you had nothing but negative MACDs, and any rallies to new highs will be run into a major resistance. As a matter of fact, we have a little game every day we play. When the S&Ps were trading at 95, I said to the community above 6,000 or below 6,000, and it was like 60-40 above 6,000. I was in the under 6,000 range because I saw the sell divergences, and right now we're trading at 81 on the S&Ps. So between now and 4 o'clock, I do not believe the S&Ps will close above 6,000. But at the time at 9 o'clock to 9:15, when I'm going over individual names, individual stocks, ETFs, index futures, I said that there was nothing but big sell divergences, like I said, on the 30-minute time frame and 60-minute time frame and the 15-minute time frame on the spiders. Again, my job here is to teach you my methodology for you to be consistent, for you to be able to get a payout, being able to do well in your prop account, for you being able to be consistent, not just blow up an account, buy another one, blow up an account. I met a gentleman one time. He bought 60 evaluations before I even met him. And I said to him, can I ask you a question? I said, you're just gambling. He said, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, then stop. I would stop spending money. Learn, be consistent, learn. And guess what? He turned the corner, right? Nobody wants to blow up an account. It's hard enough, right? It's hard enough. But you know what? If you trade the right patterns and you can make yourself $300 to $500 a day and be consistent and get a payout at the end of the month. Let's say you make $300, you make $6,000 at the end of the month, 6,600, and you're getting paid 90%. That's damn good, right? And then maybe you want to add one or two accounts, and maybe you want to bump up your goal to 500. 500 times 22 business days is $11,000. You're getting 90% of that. It doesn't suck, okay? It doesn't suck, all right? Are you watching level 2? I am not watching level 2. I do not put my own orders in. I have an assistant for that. Okay, I look at the chart, I'm talking to the community, I'm explaining what I'm seeing, why this pattern should be bought or sold. I'm guiding them, I'm educating them, and I'm putting orders in based upon the patterns that I see. Right now, again, it's very, very slow, which is a good thing. However, it's all predicated on being consistent each and every day. All right. The only one knows for futures trading. What's a good prop firm for trading stocks? There was one, Trader to Be, I think is one. I know MENT, you can trade crypto, I believe. I'm not really familiar. Most of the people that come to me are prop trading futures. Can NinjaTrader be used? Absolutely. To me, Legends is the best prop firm. I'm biased towards Legends because Greg is a very endearing friend of mine. I know how he treats customers. I know of other prop firms. I know how Greg is hands-on. His whole team is hands-on to helping you to make this better. Customer support, customer, helping you. I have a code right now. If you use SK, it's 80% off on the if you buy an eval. But again, this is about achieving greatness every single day, to be able to trade the market, to be able to go home, knowing that you can have a career in trading that could change your life. I've changed so many people's lives throughout my career. And now at this stage at 62, it gives me, and I feel like I'm 30, it gives me the ability to now want to help each and every one of you to achieve greatness, to be able to change your life, to be able to do something great, not guess, learn from someone with the experience, learn from someone that can identify these patterns, teach you these patterns, teach you the methodology, and put you on the right course, okay? Legends, yes, it's SK, okay? So no London or Asia. I don't understand. London, you mean European? Yes, if you have my software, okay, at sktrading.live, I have people from all around the world, Switzerland, Europe, Germany, Austria, or Australia. They use my software during the Tokyo and European sessions, hands down. Absolutely. I only stream during the US session, but I've taught so many people from all around the world that they actually know my software, that whether they're trading the DAX, the Eurostoxx 50 futures, or they're trading the S&P and or the NASDAQ futures, okay? But so anyway, am I part of Legends? No. Okay. I just am good friends with Greg, and he asked me if I can do this webinar to help you get to know me, to be able to understand what I do each and every day at sktrading.live in order for you to be able, you just blew a Legends Master Trading Account 25K. Well, come to my live stream every day, and I hope I can get you on the right path at sktrading.live. If you want to rejoin, use SK code, you get 80% off. All right. If anybody has any more questions, I think I've been on it for about 45 minutes. I know you want to get back to the markets here, but it's really important to be consistent, to be able to learn from me. I don't want to see David blow another master's account. I want to see David from now until the end of the year constantly pull money out and be able to do things great for his family, be able to identify the patterns with me and trade the right patterns. And that's really what it's all about. Okay. If anybody has any more questions, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I hope to do it again. Again, if you want to join my community of traders, it's sktrading.live. And please watch my podcast on YouTube, The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. It's a phenomenal podcast. Have over 42,000 subscribers, and people watch me from all around the world. and it gives me great joy to be here today. And I hope all of you the best. Be consistent. I want to help you achieve. I don't want people buying more evals, blowing them up, blowing them up, blowing them up. I've seen too much of my career here, but I want to see you now every single month or every couple of weeks get a check and keep going the same pace. Wait patiently for the right patterns, trade the right patterns, make your money, stop, hit your goal, not lose the 30%, okay? And then constantly keep building off of that. Like I said, I've met so many people, okay, in my community. I talk to them. I give out my phone number. I talk to them at the end of the night, on weekends, whenever. And it's important that each and every one of you listen, learn, and want to be consistent here. 15-minute time frame got oversold in a positive trend. S&Ps just ran 8 just now. Okay, great pattern off the 15s. NASDAQ futures just ran around 25, 30. So sktrading.live, I thank you. Want more sessions like okay again, I hope to do another webinar again, hopefully next couple weeks. This time maybe I'll have live instead of just showing you the pre-canned slides. What I'll do is I'll just have the live charts up on the index futures. But again, great patterns. Again, trade, be consistent, and every single day hit your goal. Stop, watch, learn, and listen. My member community every single day. So many people ask questions that part, whether the questions are answered by me or other members of the community. That's the key thing. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for making me be here today. Legends Trading, #1 in my book. SK, if you use that code, 80% off. Thank you, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a great day, and God bless you.